So, speaking of the president, I want to switch now to the ICE agent that shot and killed the woman. I believe her name is Nicole something. Um, and I'm not trying to be funny by not remembering her name, but I don't remember her name. So, this is what Trump posted on Truth Social. I have just viewed the clip of the event that which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully,
Willfully.
willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but is now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety, but the reason these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. So this is the clip he has. I have a better clip. And I did a live stream on Wednesday and I played the full video. It was 4 minutes and a slow motion. I edited part out when the guy was shooting because we know how YouTube can be.
I don't see. That's another thing. Where in the hell did they come up with that? They've always put that kind of thing on the front page.
What happened? Oh my god. What the fuck? Every time.
Yes. Even
Mr.
beyond
Vice-
the war
who-
powers
Sorry,
resolution.
we'll go purple and then we'll go
Thank
pink or whatever that is in front.
Royal purple.
And then beige.
All right.
Okay.
Are there any indications, you talked about the network, are there any indications that the lady who was shot, I know there are different reports from there, her wife said they were new to the area. Are there any indications she may have been a paid agitator and maybe that there are others that were brought to the area, considering everything that's going on in Minneapolis?
I wouldn't say that she was paid. I don't have the evidence to say that one way or the other. What I do know is that she was violating the law. And if you just look at the eyewitness accounts, they were saying she was there to prevent the enforcement of the law. She was trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. That much is obviously clear. The rest of it, of course, is part of the reason why we investigate this stuff. Yeah.
Mr. Vice President.
If you're a young parent struggling to afford childcare in the United States of America, there are programs that we have to make it easier for your kids to get in daycare, for your kids to get in preschool. Those programs should go to American citizens, not be defrauded by Somali immigrants and others. Make it hard for you to get the access to the resources you need. But number two, making it easier for people who shouldn't even be in this country to fleece the United States and our taxpayers to begin with. We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We have Department of Agriculture resources that are focused on SNAP fraud so that people who need food benefits can get them, but illegal aliens and other fraudsters don't. We have over 1,500 subpoenas that the Department of Justice has issued to get to the heart of the fraud ring. We've done almost 100 indictments, mostly Somali immigrants, but also a few others. And of course, we're looking in with broad investigatory authority to a number of the instances of wrongdoing that we've seen in Minneapolis. But we also want to expand this. We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
What happened? You went dark.
Isn't it strange, right? When we
Yeah, that's why I'm like, what the fuck else? I don't listen. And this is recorded. We're not live on YouTube. Did somebody call you just now?
No, they didn't.
I'm like, what the hell?
I keep telling you, this gets serious.
Judge,
We were just talking about censorship.
I edit out. That's why I edit out that part. Now, all of the news outlets and other podcasters, they played it, leaving it up. I edited it out because I know for some reason YouTube picks on my channel because of you.
Because we are effective. See, here's the thing.
So
They've got black folk that are supposed to be universally against anything that is conservative or acts like it displays common sense. All right. That narrative gets opposed, but they have some stuffed shirt crank going around trying to pontificate about it, but they don't have anybody like you and me doing what we do, where somebody actually has a grasp of the historical circumstances and what's really behind it. So they censor us because they want to target us. Look what X did to me. I asked them to send me a copy of or notice of any complaints that I've had. They can't. But they say you are suspended permanently for the extensive number of complaints and violations. What? I've never been challenged, never been told to undo anything, and never said this is objectionable. So what are they talking about? It's just an excuse to silence certain perspectives. That is the worst kind of censorship, and that is extremely dangerous. And it just does not fit that every time something like this comes up, this kind of thing happens. You talk about something that is just deplorably wrong under the Bill of Rights, not anything where we're talking about profanity, sex, or whatever, obscenity. Just fundamental discussion about one of the most important things in American governance, which is the First Amendment, freedom of speech and the press. And they are censoring us because we have the nerve who else isn't putting this? I've seen pictures of this in multiple newspapers where they get a still picture right where the action's going on. It's on CNN, it's on CBS, it's on Fox, it's on everything. People have all sorts of stuff that they show on YouTube, including graphic killing from World War II scenes, from the Nam type stuff. And they want to get on us because we simply take a newsworthy item just so it can be analyzed. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, and it's obscene.
Right. So what are your thoughts, though, on that shooting?
In other words, what the hell did you decide to get over there for anyway? ICE is going to have a raid, so you want to back this up and get around so you can protest the raid. That's not where to do it. This is not civil rights where you're dealing with civil disobedience on a mass level. This is something else. And this has got to do with something that goes along with something that is, well, anyway, let's not even get into that. But the point is, why in the hell do you take yourself to this kind of situation and then stick your nose in it?
Her car was literally in the middle of the street blocking them.
Yeah, exactly. There's a police raid going on, and you're sitting there running your mouth off talking about what you are and are not going to do.
Right.
And it's a protest.
Opened up her door and told her to get out. She refused to get out and close the door. And that's when she was driving off. And she probably wasn't aware it was an officer in front of her car. So when she went to turn and drive off, it nipped him. And that's why he pulled out his gun and he did what he did. But
he did. And see, they've been talking this mess Their elected officials, the Democrats, have been telling them to go do this. So this poor guy's standing out on the street. He's probably nervous. This may be one of his virgin voyages on something like this. Maybe not. Maybe he's had problems in the past. So somebody nicks him with a car and is looking crazy at him. Heck, he doesn't have to wait until she runs him over. He didn't get really hurt. No, that's like, you're going to run me through with the sword? Okay, run me through. Oh, he ran me through. Now I'm dying, but I can defend myself from this point. You don't have to wait to get run through by the sword. You can act when under the circumstances as you are viewing them. You have reasonable belief, either from the view of the reasonable man or from your particular slant on reason, even if you're mistaken in some areas, to act in self-defense. And I'm looking at his circumstances and considering what's been going on. He seems reasonable in his interpretation that his life was in danger of suffering its termination, or he personally was in danger of suffering serious bodily injury or personal injury. Now, the other thing is that generally when you charge self-defense to a jury, you say the actor is perfectly entitled to take into context prior incidents of violence. So this whole genre of type of protest is filled with violence. The Democratic Party has been harping this, recommending this, urging this, approving of this for the last, how long has it been? Since Trump got elected some time ago. It's been 4 years of his administration, the first one, 4 years of the Biden-Harris flunky administration, and in a year of this one. That's been 9 years they've been hyping this, and the public listens. They're susceptible. You even tell an outright lie long enough, loud enough, and you can get anyone, including the liar, to believe it and go for it. And this has been 9 years of this crap. So you've got all these people incited, worked up, wound up, and yeah, somebody on one side saying, hey, this is probably what they're getting ready to do. I got hit by this car. And this woman is looking at me with this hate in her eyeballs, so I don't know what they're doing. And, are they going to come back and run me over? I can't get out of the way of this thing quickly enough.
And you never get in the way of law enforcement doing their job. You just
No,
don't.
you don't. Where did you get this idea?
That's not peaceful protesting. Peaceful protesting is you stand your ass on the side and you chant or do what you do, or you have your permit to march wherever you want to march. That's peaceful protest.
It's not interfering with officers doing their thing. You don't like it, you go see your elected officials.
Exactly. I want to play this clip of Stephen.
Or you write about it, but I guess you can't write about it now because you'll get cut off of X or, Instagram or TikTok. Well, you can't write much on TikTok. You got to go say it. People can't read anymore. Remember, they can't be taught to write cursive writing.
I want to play this clip of Stephen A. Everybody want to be a legal expert, but he makes sense most of the time.
Guess what? I am.
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm like, I want to play this for you, and then you can critique or correct anything he may have missaid.
I saw the video on numerous occasions, and seeing what transpired from a lawful perspective, as it pertains to a law enforcement official, don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified. From a humanitarian perspective, however, why did you have to do that? If you could move out the way, that means you could have shot the tires. That means you could have got her a few feet away after you shot the tires. And if you were unsuccessful in doing that, you could have got her down the road. You didn't have to do that. She wasn't driving down the road coming at you 90 miles an hour. She was parked in the middle of the street. And rather than get out the car, she wrongfully tried to drive off. and wrongfully disregarded law enforcement official, which is exactly what ICE is. And as a result, lost her life because of it. I'm here to tell you that at some point in time, you got to ask yourself, what damn country do you want to live in? At some point in time, we're going to have to ask ourselves that question. And I think the time is sooner than later. Because again, from a legal perspective, don't expect this ICE officer to be prosecuted. I'm telling you right now. She was in the car, Renee Nicole Good, 37 years of age, protesting, blocking off the streets. ICE wanted her to move. An officer got in front of the car. Another officer got to the side of the car, and then she tried to take off. And in their eyes, the Christy Gnomes of the world for the Department of Homeland Security, and other folks on the right are saying, yo, they consider it an act of domestic terrorism because she tried to run over an ICE officer. It's not going to be prosecuted. My point is, let's not focus on that for a second, okay? She was wrong to drive off. She should not have done that. Should have got out of her car to prove that she was not going to be any harm, or she should have asked the officer, I'm pulling over, could you move out the way, please? Instead of trying to disregard him totally to the point where you're going to take off and potentially hit him, and he moves out the way and draws his gun and shoots through the front windshield and took her out. But it wasn't necessary. You could have arrested her. You could have spared the woman's life. You didn't have to kill her. We've seen plenty of incidences throughout the United States of America, historically and frequently, and recently.
Can you stop this?
Where people...
We're not here to put his view in there. The question boils down to what was the legality of the situation. And I agree with him. The officer was justified in what he did. His first premise on he could have spared her life ignores the fact that what would have happened if he had of and he had died and his family had been grieving over his loss. You see, the one that starts the mess is the one that's responsible for the mess. Even when it comes to murdering the perpetration of another crime. You start the crime, the robbery, you don't shoot anybody, but somebody winds up getting shot. You are responsible even if you didn't pull the trigger. Same thing here. The other point is his premise. He could have shot the tires. You better not do that. Most folk cannot shoot that well. Very few can shoot that well, and they can't pull that shot off every time they will try, movies and television aside. Next thing, if a bullet had hit the concrete or the asphalt and ricocheted and killed somebody else, then he would have been charged with the homicide for being reckless. And it would have been a case of he should not have even done that. So he did the right thing. Like you said, shouldn't have been there. So let's not perpetrate that. You should have been thinking of somebody else. There are a whole lot of people dead and buried or cremated or missing in the woods or at sea because they were trying to help somebody out and did not take the action that they should have. I saw this happen several times. I've eyeballed something like that going on. Somebody dropped his guard. He was feeling sorry for the other guy, and the other guy killed him, cold-blooded. And I'm looking at it and saying he should have gone ahead and exercised his rights and taken the guy out. So, or the circumstances should have taken him out, but he didn't.
So just watching the first 16 seconds before she was shot, you see her car shouldn't have been there. He comes out the car, asks her to get out.
No!
And then that's when the guy over here, you see him pulling out his gun.
Well, yeah, she's yelling, what's this? No.
Bystander in the back. And then when it's all said and done,
You are fucking criminals! You're fucking criminals! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? You are fucking insane! What did you do? You! Shame! Shame! Shame!
Yeah, get the hell out of there before you get yourself in the same situation.
So
The woman was wrong.
mhm.
And other thing too, I hadn't heard the sound, but this kind of conduct that shows that you're in a tenuous situation. You may have a nascent riot going on here.
Right. All right. Well,
In which case, Trump already said that during his first administration. If there's riots going on, all bets are off. You know, under chaotic conditions, the standards of self-defense are drastically reduced.
and Walls is saying he wants to deploy the National Guard.
Oh, ain't that something?
The National Guard for what? Because I guess the state National Guard is under his jurisdiction.
No, it can be nationalized and be put under the commander-in-chief of all American armed forces and naval forces, the President of the United States.
Okay.
It's dominantly under the governor's authority. These Democrats here in Memphis, which is the most dangerous city in the United States, the 10th most dangerous in the world by a long shot, and these idiots sued the governor, the commander of the Tennessee National Guard, and the state attorney general, not Donald Trump, the president, not the feds. They sued the state agencies because they'd rather have death and theft on the streets of Shelby County than they would have peace. Because if they have peace, what winds up happening is it destroys their complaint against the boogeyman. And as a matter of fact, crime has dropped drastically in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, because the National Guard was here. People wouldn't even let them pay for their food in pubs and restaurants and stuff because of the appreciation. You had National Guard here, you had ICE here, you had the National Guardsmen that the U.S. Marshal deputized, you had DEA and you had FBI, and I saw all of the above assisting or standing by as backup assistants to Memphis Police Department and the Shelby County Sheriff's Department during the course of quite a few busts. I drive around this city 2 or 3, 4 times a week late at night to see what's going on. And when the National Guard got here, the gunfire just stopped. I mean, I couldn't go a week previously without hearing gunshots somewhere in the city. It's so bad that even Dave Chappelle included it in his latest joke skit about Memphis and crime. So it is a reality that has to be taken into context. Somebody's got to do the fundamental thing that is expected of a government, which is to maintain public peace, dignity, and order. And if the administration holding sway cannot do that, they don't need to be in office because they are incompetent and or failing at what they got put in office to do. First thing, to maintain law and order.